Shalom and welcome to our 22nd annual Feast of Unleavened Bread. This is part 33 of Preparing for Rulership.
When we search the Word, we know our place, and we know the devil's place. So although we're moving toward the information relative to the Passover, we try to give you as much background information as possible so we can appreciate the whole scenario. How many have been taught that Saturday is the Sabbath day? Well, that's a lie. So that is a lie. Yahweh didn't say Saturday is the Sabbath day. Yahweh didn't say nothing about no Saturday. You search the Bible and find that for me, please. Where Yahweh said Saturday is my Sabbath day. I don't believe you'll find it in there. How many have ever seen it in the Bible? Please tell me where it is so I can find it. You may have seen something I have not seen. No problem. I submit to that. I believe in the book. Just show me that in the book. You see, I have to teach you precept upon precept. Where do you find that? Isaiah what? Isaiah 28:10. If I taught you all there is to know at one time, you wouldn't be here. None of us would be here. The shock is too great to our system. I told you in the beginning, if I taught you all that Yahweh has taught me, you grab your head and run down the street screaming, insane, totally out of your mind. They would lock you away and there'd never be any hope for you. Shock treatment or nothing would ever help. And you see, Yahweh knows that, so he gave us Isaiah 28 and what? 10, so we would understand. Let's start at verse 9, excuse me. Let's go with verse 9 first. Read.
Whom shall he teach knowledge?
Whom shall he make to understand? We thought Saturday was the Sabbath. You came here tonight thinking that. Who shall I make to understand doctrine? Then the answer is given. Now we read the answer. Who?
Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast.
See, a baby cannot be fed steak at birth and you expect that sucker to live. You might force some steak in there, but it's going to kill him. As sure as he was born, his stomach was made for milk. And Yahweh proved it by making him toothless. So when he sucked, it hurt from sucking, but at least he won't bite you, bite it off. But it's not really true food till they get teeth. Some mothers want to feed the baby before he gets teeth. Well, can I feed my baby now? Does he have all his teeth? Let the baby nurse. That's why Yahweh gave you two titties. When one gets tired, give him the other one. See, now I wonder why Yahweh put a scripture put words in here like this. Why would he put in here wean from the milk? Why would he do this? We're into a heavy subject talking about doctrine and understanding and teaching and knowledge. And all of a sudden I run into some milk. Why in the world is this in here? Because Yahweh knew the state of our mind. He knew the state our minds would be in being under the Gentile devil. knowing that we would be blind in part until that time for rulership would be up, that we would have a baby mentality. We would have children-like minds. We can all understand a baby being weaned from his mother. And you don't wean the baby from the milk until the baby is ready for another food. So knowing that we would have a certain childlike mind when it comes to the deep spiritual understanding of Yahweh. So we'd have to be fed not a meat diet, but a mentally, spiritually, childlike, baby-like, milk-like diet. Meantime, if you're talking about milk drawn from the breast, you're the ones to be taught this knowledge. Now read on, verse 10.
For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little.
Notice it's precept upon precept, precept again upon another precept, and not just one line upon a line, but then another line upon a line. We have to be given this knowledge a little bit by little bit, and here and there. Just can't give it to y'all anymore. I'd like to empty my head out to you right now with Yahweh's giving me, but it's just impossible to do. You can't hold it. Yahweh blows my mind with me holding it. He's so terrible until he reveals to me step by step. He says that surely the Lord Yahweh doeth nothing except he reveals. So when he gets ready to do different things, he waits till he wants to reveal. He reveals whatever he wants to reveal when he gets ready. That's why he's God. See, I don't have any problem with that. My problem is sometimes I ask him about certain things and it seems like it takes so long to tell me. That shakes me up, but I never give up trusting. I trust right on. You don't even have to tell me, Yahweh. It's all right. I mean, you are God. You know, I understand that. I sure would like to know, though. And whenever he gets ready, then he lets me know. Until then, I serve him just like I did know. Because see, me knowing it doesn't have anything to do with me serving him. If he never tell me it's all right, I'm going to serve him right on. But it sure makes me grin big when he does tell me. I sure love it. Don't you feel good when you learn something new? Well, you learn it tonight. Saturday is not the Sabbath. We've been keeping Saturday. Not the Sabbath. He said he gave the sun, moon, and stars an order. Then he told me that the sun determined the day from the night. Huh? Therefore the sun determines time. And if I have a calendar that is not in tune with the sun and the season, then I'll be out of time. And if you've ever had a car that's out of time, it won't run right. So if we are in the wrong time, we won't serve Yahweh right. And the game of the white man, whether he be Jew or Gentile, is to make sure, if he can, that we don't follow Yahweh's laws. And Yahweh did not say keep Saturday. He just didn't say it. Now let's go to Genesis right from the beginning. Genesis what? 2, 2, and 3. Let's see what days Yahweh said keep. 2, 2, and 3. Genesis chapter 2, verse 2 and 3. Now let's see what he said. Read.
And on the seventh day Yahweh ended his work, which he had made. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Yahweh blessed the seventh day,
Bless Saturday.
the seventh day, and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which Yahweh created and made.
All right. I know that when Israel keep the true Sabbath, Yahweh said, that's a sign between me and you.
Yes, sir.
And he said, there's nothing like praising him with an understanding.
Praise God.
It's one thing to praise Yahweh. Some people come and praise Yahweh and they stay a while and then they go a while. They stay a while and they go out in the street a while. Then they come back a while and they go back out. Well, I think I got more time. They go back out a while. Some are going to get caught out there. But every time they come back, they see greater numbers here. Greater progress around the country. This year, greater things will take place. Our numbers will increase dramatically this year because we're keeping the true Sabbath. We're keeping the seventh day this year. Now the Roman calendar, they have what they call leap year in it. And February doesn't have the same year. The devil's months don't have the same days. They have 28 in February. Sometimes they have 29. Huh? That means when there's a leap year, their calendar gains a day. So instead of February being on Sunday next year, when it leaps up to Monday or Tuesday, right? He just add a number. He just told you leap year. How many never understood leap year? Tell the truth. Hallelujah. Of course you didn't. But you go along with it. Why? Figure white folk know, didn't you? No, didn't we figure white folk ought to know? I mean, hey man, they rule it and they say it's leap year, it's leap year. Woman can ask a man to marry him in leap year. Woman can wear the pants in leap year, right? Every 4 years she get a shot. How many remember? That's the myth I heard. That's the custom I heard. How many heard that custom? The woman can choose the man in leap year. How many realize there's been more than one calendar used? Who gave the authority to change calendars? Do you realize as calendars change, that times change? And as the time change, how do we keep the seventh day then? Huh? Law. When the cracker add leap year, he rearranged his whole calendar right in your face. And we never saw it. Daniel what? Daniel 7:25. Right? Read about this devil.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High.
Wore us out. We were trying to keep up with the correct time, and we tried to keep it right, and this devil wore us out. Put us to sleep. So when you get wore out, you go to sleep. We've been asleep over 428 years. We don't know what's going on. When you wake up, people do anything they want to do in your house when you sleep. You ever walked around anybody sleep in your life? Huh? Couldn't you take the pocketbook, go in the pocket, read the letters, read this stuff? Huh? Do they know? They're asleep. So the cracker rearranged time on us after he wore us out and put us to sleep. Wore the saints out, and what else?
And think to change times and laws.
He changed the times and the laws after he did what? Wore us out. When you wear out, you do what? Go to sleep. So when he changed the times and he changed the what? The laws of Yahweh. He got us worshiping a day, Saturday, instead of the seventh day. Told us here in our face he was going to do that. But in our dead state, how are we going to figure this out? Even when you thought you were awake, you read this. And you didn't figure it out, did you? Sharp as you were. No, I'm awake now. I know all I need to know. Yahweh is God. I'm a Hebrew Israelite. My language, history, culture is Hebrew. My last name is Israel. And my land is Israel. Now, I'm going on back out in the street. When y'all get ready to go, let me know. I know who I am. Hey, baby. You know, where we go from here, you know what I mean? What's next? Precept upon precept is next. Line upon line is next. Little here and a little there is next. So he changed the times and the laws after he wore us out. It was all about wearing out who? The saints. Who are the saints? Only saints.
Please turn to side 2.
Because it told you who the saints were. The saints belong to who? Yahweh. Said the Most High. The Most High is who? Yahweh. So they wore out, the devil wore out the saints of the Most High. Put them to sleep. And then changed the law. And by changing the law, this allowed us to be given into his hands. Notice, after he wore us out, then he changed the times of the law. Now read what happened.
And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time.
See, that translates into 3.5 years, or 3.5, or over 350 years. Then they pulled another trick. After 310 years of slavery, Abraham Lincoln said he freed us. They put us to sleep in this country. And after 3.5, after 10 years, they didn't even get to 350. Said we were free. But all the time, Yahweh said we'd be here for time and a half. Over 350 years. Before we wake up and get this number. So, but although he did this number on us and we'd be given over into his hands, read verse 26. But what's going to happen anyway?
But the judgment shall sit.
Judgment is when you are given the knowledge that is different from the deceiver's knowledge, which allows you to make a judgment as to who you want to follow. Yahweh with the truth, or do you want to continue with Satan the deceiver? Revelation 12 and 9. So that makes this what kind of day? Judgment Day. You ever heard about that great Judgment Day? I can tell you one thing, that the Romans have what they call a 28-year calendar chart system. And that 28-year cycle, at the end of every 28 years of this devil's calendar that you have, he comes right on time with Yahweh's time. he gets back on track with solar time. See, you don't know when the 28th year is. Now what happens during the next 28 years? He's on for 1 year, or maybe 4 years. Then he goes into what? Leap year. And he goes into leap year to throw you right off. So he serves 1 year the right time, and you don't know when that is. And it's called the 28-year cycle that we've never been taught about. Now, there's something magical about 28 too. Wonder why the devil used the 28-year cycle? 4-7. What does the number 4 represent? Foundation. So he comes back to the foundation. Yahweh is the foundation. He comes back to the foundation every 28 years. 4-7. But since we blind in part, we don't know any of that. And what he does is in his 28 years, by going every 4 years, a leap year, that gives him what? 7-4 again. So that he gains, at the end of 28 years, he gains a whole week in advance of the correct time. So at the end of 28 years, he drops that week, which is 7 days. He gains a perfect 7 days in 28 years. He gains. There's 7 again. Now he knows what he's doing. That's why he comes back to the foundation. See, if he didn't come back to the foundation, even he would lose track of time. Then he wouldn't be able to rule. We could come on and say, your time is up, sucker. He said, oh, well, I guess it is. I know I'm not the ruler. Yeah, take it. He trick us out of time, have us off time, so that Yahweh won't be with us. Because we're breaking Yahweh's law. The only way Yahweh will be with us to overcome the beast is to keep his law. He said, keep my law, and I will. I will if you keep my law. And his most dynamic law is the Sabbath. He said, that's the sign. Then I will put the fear and the dread of you upon all the nations of the earth. They just might know we're keeping the correct day today. They just might know this is the correct Passover and see us do it. They just might know this. Yahweh is God. And it is significant. And the numbers are significant. So that Roman leap year throws everything out of character for them, and you too. But they keep up with the system because they know how much time they were given to rule. All that's important is that we get on track of the solar calendar and understand the month of our business, that all of Yahweh's months have 30 days each. No 29s, no 31s. All 12 months have 30 days. Well, it's 365 days, right? At the end of the 12th month with 30 days, we add 5 days. We go 5 more days. 5 plus 2 is still 7, because you have how many Sabbaths in 30 days? 4. It's 28, right? And what do you have left? 2? So when you go the full 30 days of the 12th month, you got 2 days hidden, right? So you add what? 5, and you'll have what? 7, and then you begin the first day of our business. Still on the 7th day. You never lose the 7th day. It's always the 7th day. So, if you can get this in your mind, you can listen to me. March 1st, the first day after February 28th, would always remain in that order if it were not for what? The Roman leap year system. When the Romans leaped their dates ahead one day, the first year of each 4-year period, they call that March 1st, February 29th. They call March 1st, February 29th. If you go back and look at the calendars, you'll see that going. They just do it. They just do it. They just add another day. They just do it. They don't care about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, nothing. They just do it. This makes March the 1st fall one day later on the day of the year that March 2nd had fallen on the past 4 years. Each time the Romans add the false date, February 29th, it falls on the day March 1st had been. Each time the devil adds February 29 on the calendar, you see that every 4 years, that date is where March 1st was for 4 years in a row. All of a sudden, in the 4th year, he gets rid of the 1st of March, where it's supposed to fall, and puts February 29 and says it's leap year. Who say so? I say so. Who are you? I'm a Roman. Well, where did you get your authority? Well, I wore out the saints, so I wore y'all out and put you to sleep. That changed the laws and the times and the sleep. I'm ruling. The only way you can stop me from ruling is learn the truth and follow the truth. And then you'll take my rulership from me. When the world learns the truth, they aren't going to pay me any attention. I'm ruling the world through deception. I'm on my job. I'm doing my thing called deception. But Yahweh told me we would take dominion, didn't he? Here in this verse, he says in verse 27, and the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High. The rulership of the earth will be given to us. What? Whose kingdom is what? Everlasting. And what? Who is him? Yahweh, the saints of the Most High, the Messiah. Yahweh, the Messiah, the saints of the Most High. They shall obey. How can they obey when we don't know? When we know, we have to prove we know. So I'm giving you knowledge to prove that we know, huh? So the Roman leap year is, I have just proven to you, and it is always proven to be a white trick. So remember, the white people dropped back their 7 days gain ahead of the solar calendar at the end of every 28 years, keeping up with 7. So when you see them do it, and you get on tune with the 28th cycle, then you can set Yahweh's solar calendar right, and it will never vary. Yahweh said, behold, I change not. So the first Abib and the 14th date was the 14th day of Earth's time as Yahweh gave it, and it fell on the 7th day, Sabbath, on Saturday of the second week, since you want to use that word, Saturday. See, it always won't fall on Saturday. It could technically, if you change the day, but it won't go along with the Roman calendar. See, it can always be on Saturday. It will always fall, the Sabbath day will always fall on Saturday of the solar calendar. How many understand that? If you want to use Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, then it will always fall on Saturday of what calendar? Solar calendar, Yahweh's calendar. Hope you're not confused. The idea is to keep the seventh day.
This concludes part 33 of Preparing for Rulership.
But in Yahweh's calendar, it never changes. Saturday is just the Sabbath. Saturday for Sabbath, Saturday be the same. But Yahweh didn't name no Sunday, no way. He said on the 14th day, on the 20th, on to this, on the first day, on the 10th day. See, he goes by what? Number. Yahweh did not name a day Sunday. He numbered them. Teach us to count, be mathematicians. So Yahweh created on the first, what? 6 days. They say nowhere he created Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. He created on the first 6 days. And he finished all of Earth's creation by sunset of the 6th day. By sunset of the 6th day, Yahweh was finished. Because at sunset, it was what day? 7th day. Sunset of the 6th day is what? The 7th day. So then he rested at sunset of the 6th day. And blessed what day? The 7th day as his holy day. Saying what? Remember the 7th day to keep it holy. And Yahweh kept it, didn't he? Did Yahweh keep it? Yeah, he kept it. Now the solar has 365 weeks in each 7-year calendar period. Solar has 365 weeks in each 7-year calendar period to an exact sunset on the 2,555th day. That are in each solar 7-year period. Multiply 365 days times 7, and you will have 2,555 days. Try it. Multiply. Correct? Some of you can't add, right? Some of you can't multiply. So you have to take the word of the rest of us. But to be a Hebrew Israelite, you have to learn how to multiply. See what Yahweh is forcing on us? We have to learn how to add, how to keep up with dates, how to count, and how to multiply, how to deal with numbers. Is that what Yahweh does? There are 365 weeks. 52 weeks in a year, right? Multiply 52 times 7 and tell me what it is. $364. And then when you start for your next year, next day, you have what? 365. So you have 365 weeks in each 7-year calendar period. 365 days in 1 year. $365 weeks in the 7-year period to an exact sunset on the 2,555th day. That's completion. Then you start the next one. We get confused because we don't know how to start that next one all the time, right? This gives us 1,460 weeks in a 28 years of 4 solar 7-year periods, which equals 10,220 days. This gives us 1,460 weeks in 28 years of 4 solar 7-year periods, totaling 10,220 days. Now the white man, the white Romans, have 1,461 weeks in that same 28 years. And they have 10,227 days because of their leap year period. So they could never place March 17th on a bid first on the first 4 years of each Roman 28-year period as they do, without first dropping back their dates, the date gain of 7 days. The only way they can get back to the foundation, to the beginning, to the original, to be in tune with Yahweh at the end of 28 years is just drop those 7 days like they don't exist. But if you're not familiar with where those that leap year, leap date goes to, then praise Yahweh. How long does it take to gain a week of 7? Completion. 28. Of leap years. I hope you're not confused. All that the white man is doing is showing that dates ahead 1 day in each 4-year period called leap year through each 28-year period. Then they drop back their dates 1 week or 7 days in order to stay with the solar, in order to stay with it. Otherwise, the next 28 years, that'd be what, 2 weeks ahead. The next 28, 3 weeks. The next 28, A whole month off of real time. He knows better than to get off that far. He just want to trick you, change the time. And see, so the saints, notice who was in the scripture that he was dealing with. He wore out who?
Saints.
The saints of the Most High Yahweh. Who are the saints?
Yeah.
When you get wore out, what do? So we went to sleep. He changed the time so we would be off when we wake up and try to serve Yahweh. And he knew we were going to wake up. And when we wake up, the times would be changed. And the law would be changed. And we'll call ourselves serving Yahweh while breaking the law. And that devil say, I got you suckers now. You say you're Hebrew Israelites, but I got you. That's why he played with you. You believe in Jesus Christ? Are you a Jew? You believe in Judaism? He doesn't tell you it's wrong. He doesn't tell you what's right. He just asks you, do you follow me? Or do you follow Yahweh now? So after the white devil drops back their calendar date 7 days at the end of the 28-year cycle, then that leaves them with 460 weeks too in 28 years, which leaves them also with 10,220 days, the same as Yahweh's solar calendar. March 1st is the first day after February 28th, and would remain so every year if they didn't have what? Leap year. Okay? So I'm repeating this for your benefit. Each leap year, the white man calls March 1st February 29th. This move puts March 1st 1 day later, fall on the day of March 2nd, had previously fallen on for 4 years straight. So each 4-year period, the white man's dates are moved ahead 1 day, or 7 times in a 28-year period, right? Everybody understand that right now? Can't ask you right because you don't know. But do you understand that? That's just in plain mathematics. 28 divided by 4 is 7. Every 4 years, they gain a day. And they do that 7 times, which equals what? 28 years. So at the end of 28 years, how many days does the white man's calendar gain? So to get back in tune with Yahweh, what does he have to do? Throw away 7. In the meantime, we who follow the white man's calendar, are we following Yahweh's law or breaking his law? So then they play that way at the end of every 28 years, their March 17th. Every 28 years, their calendar date of March 17th is back on Abib 1. The Roman calendar, white man's calendar, the calendar that's being used today. Which is the first 4 years of each Roman 28-year calendar period. So those first 4 years, he's right on time. Then he does what? He gains the day. And he does that 7 times. Next 28 years, he'll drop back. Every 28 years, the 17th is on the right day. But see, on his calendar, it's like what? Of his month, it falls, our first day falls on his 17th day. So you're still screwed up if you use his calendar. How many understand that mystery? Every 28 years, March 17th of his white Roman calendar falls on Abib 1. So when I make available to you 7 charts, these 7 charts that I was talking about that covers 700-year period of 7 charts, on each one would be 100 years in each one, and this will prove beyond all shadow of doubt the day of the week, Abib the first, or Passover, falls on each and every year. You don't have to pay any attention to this devil anymore. You'll know, you'll have him, where it counts, you'll have him. So we already understand that each 7-year period repeats on the same days of the week, as does every 700-year period. Every 700 years, same thing happens. So this way, every 7th-day Sabbath and festival that we keep, whether it be Passover, Feast of Weeks, or Tabernacles, we can prove it. And I'll give you more information about this in the weeks or months ahead, depending on what Yahweh wants to do. This is the foundation Passover, wherein we learn how to be back on time. And you'll learn how to prove it, and I'll teach you how to prove it all as we go along. Right now, you just mark down on your calendar forever. Today is the 15th of Abib. That means there are 15 more days in Abib. Then it will be what? The second month. And how many days will the second month have? 30. How many days will the third month have? 30. How many days will the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th month have? 30. How many days will the 8th, 9th, and 10th month have? 30. How many days will the 11th and 12th have? 30. And then we do what? And then what happens? Be the month of Abib again. Care what that devil does. We on time now. And you'll watch that devil get on time with us. Kingdom is built up on lies. And just look at it. Here tonight, the basis of his lies is being destroyed. His whole deal was to change the time in the law. And when we didn't know, he had us. He had us.
Please turn to side 2.
Check. Shouldn't you realize that the first month should begin with spring in our land? The white man, you ought to know January 1 couldn't be the first of nobody's year. That's in the middle of the winter. Life does not begin in winter. When does life begin? In the spring. What season does he look forward to? Spring. They're running from the winter. They come to Florida in the winter. They don't begin their life in the winter. They run from the winter. Winter is a killer. Spring is the beginning of the year. Makes sense now, doesn't it? So then you need, when the spring begins, Abib 1 is when it begins in our homeland. How do we tell? He tells us how. When you put the sickle, have to put the sickle to the corn. If you don't know what's happening, just keep planting corn every day till you see it need a sickle, huh? I mean, when it mature, you say, "Oh, this is it, man." You can lay down, you can put your money on that, right? That means if you were totally ignorant, didn't know nothing, you want to start finding out what time it is. Hey. But fortunately, Yahweh has fixed things where we won't lose time. The solar calendar, which is determined by what? Sun. Which indicates what? Time of who? No. Time of the white man's rulership. And don't you know Yahweh been around forever? He said he's Alpha and Omega. Yahweh hadn't been around just 5,986 years. The white man wants us to believe the earth is 5,986 years old. That life began on the planet 5,986 years ago. You don't have enough sense to know that life has no beginning and life has no ending. Life has no beginning and life has no ending. The only way you can get life is from life. You can't get life from death. You can only get life from life. And since we are alive, that's proof that life has always been here. The existence of life is proof that life has always been, because you can only get life from life. Y'all say he's God of the living. Dead don't count. And you got proof how you get life. You alive. You mate with somebody. What comes forth? Life. What are they carrying inside them? And they grow up and mate, produce. An apple has in it what? Which has within it? Life. A life of what? Another tree with limbs and leaves. And everything the other tree had on that you took it from. Same life in it. The same kind of life is in the seed of an apple. Proof. You can only get life from what? And who is the life giver? He said he is the first. He said beside him, there is no God. He said it. White man say he has an atomic bomb to blow up the earth, but he'll never get to blow us up. We were here before he was born, he was made, and he was given time to rule. We'll be here when he's gone. He was given 6,000 years, and that's like 6 days with us. In fact, that's all it is. The Bible says what? 1,000 years is but a day with Yahweh. How many have read that? How many have not read that? Raise your hands. You have not. Well, let's turn to it. Where is that? 2 Peter 3:8. All right, read.
But, beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord Yahweh as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day.
So, this is really simple times. Whitey hadn't had a chance to grow up and be a man. His 6,000 years is up in a day. How can anybody be around a day, know anything what's going on the planet Earth? That's why they have what they call archaeologists. Archaeology. Going around digging, trying to find out what happened. What did they do before we took over the rule? What were the Hebrew Israelites doing before our 6,000 years? Oh man, every time I dig, I find they had this kind of science. They had that kind of science. They built the pyramids and the Sphinx and the treasure cities. And they had airplanes and they built artifacts that we test them in the wind tunnel and they're perfect aircraft. They found those things buried in the ground by accident. We always used to fly through the heavens. That's no big thing. Anybody can make the sun, the moon, and the stars, make all these planets fly around that. He didn't have no, make the birds to fly. He make animals fly. Bats is an animal. Make him fly. I've seen snakes and squirrels fly. Hey, Yahweh can do anything. If he can make other things fly, don't you think he can fly? That makes him the master of flight, doesn't it? He makes flying machines that can reproduce themselves. See, Whitey's plane can't reproduce itself. And it can't fly itself. And it kills the pilot a lot of times. I've never seen a bird crash. And when he take off, he doesn't worry about it, he's going to crash land. You fly that devil, boy, you have to wonder, don't you? Praise Yahweh. All right. All right. So now we know what day it is, at least. We studied that tonight.
This concludes part 34 of Preparing for Rulership.
Welcome to 5,996 years on the solar calendar. 5,996 years since the beginning of this civilization to this date of Satan, the god of this world, ruling heaven by force and violence. This is our first Shabbat, sundown Sunday until sundown Monday, until next Abib in March. We are also nearing the vernal equinox on the 21st. We are nearing Passover, which we start celebrating this year on the 23rd, but I'm sure they would normally begin on the 21st. Again, Shabbat Shalom. I thought it would be worthwhile to go over the law regarding the Sabbath, the Shabbat, since I haven't done so for maybe 10 years. Not really that long, but certainly a long time. Let us look at the Word and see what we can enjoy relative to the law of the Shabbat, why we keep it, why we should keep it. And I'll give you a host of scriptures first, and then I will come back and give as many comments as time or my feet will allow, since I've been standing on them for quite a while today. Let's go to Genesis chapter 2, verse 2. You need a pencil and paper, of course. You that are quick can pull out your Bibles and go along with me. Genesis chapter 2, verse 2 says, "And on the seventh day, God, Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh, ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made." Normally, that's as far as I would get for the next 3 hours, just on that verse alone. I'm going to resist that temptation tonight, and it's extremely difficult for me to do so and get back in the mode that I was in 12 years ago, 10 years ago. I mean, we would just go over a host of scriptures, and many of them you didn't understand at the time. Anyway, many people said, "Oh, would you please just give us an understanding of if it's only one, rather than go through so many." But tonight I want you to have this in your book of wisdom. Genesis chapter 2, verse 3. And God, I must give you a chance to turn. Genesis chapter 2, verse 3. And God, Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh, blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work, which God, Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh, created and made. Again, I must make this comment. It's so difficult not to go into that. Let's now turn to Exodus chapter 12, verse 16. Exodus chapter 12, verse 16. This kind of reminds me of when we had the home sessions for such a long period of time, for the first 2 years or 3 years, where I would ask you, tell me, what do you see in this scripture? What do you understand out of this scripture? We used to have a lot of fun going through the entire class and letting every soul present express everything they could see and understand and expound upon from that scripture, each one of them that we would go through. And the joy was, when you put it all together, no one could understand what I presented for your knowledge and consideration. Exodus 12:16 says, "And in the first day there shall be a holy convocation, and in the seventh day there shall be a holy convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you." What a temptation to speak there. Exodus chapter 16, verse 26. Exodus chapter 16, verse 26 says, 6 days ye shall gather it, but on the seventh day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none. Same chapter, verse 27. Exodus chapter 16, verse 27. "And it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the seventh day for to gather, and they found none." Verse 28, Exodus 16:28. "And the Lord Yahweh said unto Moses, How long refuse ye to keep my commandments and my laws? How long refuse ye to keep my commandments and my laws?" How long? Verse 29. "See, for that the Lord Yahweh has given you the Sabbath. Therefore he giveth you on the sixth day the bread of 2 days. Abide ye every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the seventh day." Verse 30, Exodus 16:30. "So the people rested on the seventh day." Exodus chapter 20, verse 10. Exodus chapter 20, verse 10. "But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God, Yahweh. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates." Verse 11, Exodus 20:11. "For in 6 days the Lord Yahweh made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it." Exodus chapter 23, verse 12. Exodus chapter 23, verse 12. 6 days thou shalt do thy work, and on the seventh day thou shalt rest, that thine ox and thine ass may rest, and the son of thy handmaid and the stranger may be refreshed. Exodus chapter 31, verse 15. Exodus chapter 31, verse 15. I remind you, there are so many wonderful keywords in each one of these verses that I'm reading to you. 6 days may work be done, but in the Sabbath, or in the seventh, is the Sabbath of rest, holy to the Lord Yahweh. "Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death." You know I'm tempted for comment there, don't you? I know that brings a smile to your face. You know I want to discuss Wav and Noon. You understand well that I want to, but I'm going to resist this temptation. It's about to drive me to distraction, not to go off into these key words that we've gone over thus far. Exodus chapter 31, verse 17. Verse 17. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. Oh, help me, Yahweh. For in 6 days the Lord Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day he rested and was refreshed. Exodus chapter 34, verse 21. Exodus chapter 34, verse 21. 6 days thou shalt work, but on the 7th day thou shalt rest, in earing time and in harvest thou shalt rest. Exodus chapter 35, verse 2. Exodus chapter 35, verse 2. 6 days shall work be done, but on the 7th day there shall be to you a holy day, a Sabbath of rest to the Lord, Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh. Whosoever doeth work therein shall be put to death. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 3. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 3. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest, a holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh in all your dwellings. Leviticus chapter 24, verse 4. Leviticus chapter 25, verse 4. But in the 7th year shall be a Sabbath of rest unto the land, a Sabbath for the Lord Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh. Thou shalt neither sow thy field, nor prune thy vineyard. Help me get through this night without succumbing to the temptation. Oh, my Father, Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh. How beautiful thy word, a joy and a rejoicing to my soul, my heart, my mind. Oh, Numbers chapter 28, verse 25. Numbers chapter 28, verse 25. And on the 7th day ye shall have a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work. Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 14. Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 14. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God, Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maid servant, nor thine ox, nor thine ass, nor any of thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates, that thy manservant and thy maidservant may rest as well as thou. I hope you're picking up on my intonations here and there. They are important. Hebrews, the book of Hebrews, chapter 4, verse 4. Hebrews, chapter 4, verse 4. For he spake in a certain place of the 7th day on this wise, and God, Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh, did rest the 7th day from all his works. Let's go back to Exodus chapter 20. Reference verses 8 through 11. Verses 8 through 11. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God, Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy maidservant, thy manservant, nor thy cattle, or thy stranger that is within thy gates. Verse 11, for in 6 days the Lord, Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh, made heaven and earth, and the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord, Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh, blessed the Sabbath day, and hallowed it. Exodus chapter 31, verses 13 through 17. Exodus chapter 31, verses 13 through 17. Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I am the Lord Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh, that does sanctify you. Ye shall keep the Sabbath therefore, for it is holy unto you. Every one that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, holy to the Lord Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations, for a perpetual covenant. Perpetual. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days the Lord Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 3. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 3. 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh in all your dwellings. Leviticus chapter 25, verses 1 through 4. Leviticus chapter 25, verses 1 through 4. And the Lord Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh spake unto Moses in Mount Sinai, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when ye come into the land which I give you, then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto the Lord Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh. 6 years thou shalt sow thy field, and 6 years thou shalt prune thy vineyard, and gather in the fruit thereof. But in the seventh year shall be a Sabbath of rest unto the land, a Sabbath for the Lord Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh. Thou shalt neither sow thy field, nor prune thy vineyard. Deuteronomy chapter 5, verses 12 through 15. Deuteronomy chapter 5, verses 12 through verses 15. Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, as the Lord thy God Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh hath commanded thee. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God Yud-Heh-Wah-Heh. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thine ox, nor thine ass, nor any of thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates, that the manservant and maidservant may rest, as well as thou. And remember that thou wast a servant in the land of Egypt, and that the Lord thy God, Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh, brought thee out thence through a mighty hand, and by a stretched out arm. Therefore the Lord thy God, Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh, commanded thee to keep the Sabbath day. Matthew, the book of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 8. Book of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 8. For the Son of Man, Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh, Bethlehem Sophit, Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh, is the Lord, even of the Sabbath day. Mark, the book of Mark, chapter 2, verse 27 and verse 28. The book of Mark, chapter 2, verse 27 and 28. And he said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Therefore the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. Luke chapter 6, verse 5. Luke chapter 6, verse 5. And he said unto them, that the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. Isaiah chapter 56, verses 2 and 6. Isaiah 56, verse 2. Blessed is the man. Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the Son of Man that layeth hold on it, that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and keepeth his hand from doing any evil. Verse 6. Also, the sons of the stranger that join themselves to the Lord, Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh, to serve him, and to love the name of the Lord, Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh, to be his servants, every one that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and taketh hold of my covenant. Ezekiel chapter 20, verses 12 through 24. Ezekiel chapter 20, verses 12, starting at verse 12. Moreover, also I gave them my Sabbaths to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am the Lord, Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh, that sanctify them. But the house of Israel, the so-called black men of America, rebelled against me in the wilderness. They walked not in my statutes, and they despised my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. And my Sabbaths they greatly polluted. Then I said, I would pour out my fury upon them in the wilderness to consume them. But I wrought for my name's sake that it should not be polluted before the heathen, in whose sight I brought them out. Yet also I lifted up my hand unto them in the wilderness, that I would not bring them into the land which I had given them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands. Because they despised my judgments, and walked not in my statutes, but polluted my Sabbaths, for their heart went after their idols. Nevertheless, mine eye spared them from destroying them. Neither did I make an end of them in the wilderness. But I said unto their children in the wilderness, walk ye not in the statutes of your fathers, neither observe their judgments, nor defile yourselves with their idols. I am the Lord your God, Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh. walk in my statutes, and keep my judgments, and do them, and hallow my Sabbaths, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that you may know that I am the Lord your God, Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh. Notwithstanding, the children rebelled against me. They walked not in my statutes, neither kept my judgments to do them, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. They polluted my Sabbath. Then I said, I would pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the wilderness. Nevertheless, I withdrew my hand, and I wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted in the sight of the heathen, in whose sight I brought them forth. I lifted up my hand unto them also in the wilderness, that I would scatter them among the heathen. Hold on just a moment. I lifted up my hand also unto them in the wilderness, that I would scatter them among the heathen and disperse them through the countries, because they had not executed my judgments, but had despised my statutes and had polluted my Sabbaths. And their eyes were after their fathers' idols. Wherefore I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby they should not live. And I polluted them in their own gifts at Christmas. Oh, that's right. I'm not supposed to go into that right now. Oh, it's so hard. And I polluted them in their own gifts, in that they caused to pass through the fire all that openeth the womb, that I might make them desolate, to the end that they might know that I am the Lord Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh. The law is so powerful. It is so fantastic. And of course, my desire to get in on top of this at this point is so powerful in my mind. You should also study the Sabbath day, because those scriptures do not at all and in no way exhaust all there is on Sabbath in either the Old or the New Testaments. But for the purposes of this class, this is quite extensive, even without me having gone through it. We'll save the exhaustion for another day, another time. That's another matter for another day, as I've heard recently. The Sabbath day in your concordance, number 76, where you have Sheen, Beit, Tav, Shabbat. You should get quite a lesson there. Also, 76-73 gives you Sheen, Bet, Tav, Shabbat. Study that. I won't go through it. I'm giving it to you to study. Also, you know you're learning how to study in this form. You should also correlate that, of course, with your Bible's Interpreter's Dictionary and your regular English Collegiate and Webster's dictionaries. Also look in your Strong's Exhaustive Concordance under the number 226, where you have Aleph, Wad, Tav for sign, since Yahweh spoke so eloquently and so emphatically toward the word sign. This is a sign, the Shabbat, the seventh day, between me and you. I think I'm going to offer you a challenge to at least take up a part of the way home sessions go, and invite you to spend the rest of this week studying all that you can about the scriptures I've given you tonight, and pick out all the keywords that you can, and at every available moment, instead of watching television or listening to something foolish on the radio or strenuously avoiding your gossip sessions, go off into these keywords and meet me next Shabbat. I will look forward to speaking with you on Shabbat next week. And I will go over what this means from my perspective. Who knows how many verses I'll get through? Maybe only one. But I'm going to have a good time with it. I do have court coming up tomorrow and all of this week, Monday through Thursday. And perhaps I'll be rested enough to deal with you on Sunday evening about this same time. I had a great show in St. Louis tonight. I had a great show somewhere else this afternoon. This entire weekend has been one of going to California, Los Angeles, speaking to 16 million, speaking to several million in Seattle, Washington, speaking to tens of thousands in Akron, Ohio, and speaking to tens of thousands in Norfolk, Virginia. And it's been a great weekend. I'm as busy as usual, standing up 4 or 5 hours or more just teaching and sharing the word from the tomb, that you might gain victory over the sting of noon, that you may come from under the mark of the beast, which was placed upon Cain and his descendants, and that you might awaken from your 6,000-year-old sleep and take your rightful place as the sons of God, Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh, as Luke chapter 3, verse 38 tells us, Adam was indeed the son of Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh. So all of his descendants are the descendants of God's son. Therefore, you are sons of the son of Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh. What a blessing to learn that. And again, I hope my intonations helped you to understand some of the importance of tonight's class. Just going over the law in this manner is a blessing. And it will be even more exciting, I'm sure, as I give you illumination on next week. Again, we're on a new roll. Sundown Sunday to sundown Monday, Shabbat. We're right on time for the dawn. The dawn is approaching of the third day that I shall rise. I'm looking forward to this resurrection. What a blessing. Again, all of you that are there tonight, continue your hard work that you're doing for my release, which is your release. I thank Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh for all the work you have done and the good reports that I get of you working and running traffic light wisdom, passing out leaflets and flyers, and seeing that the word is passed to the people that they may understand, seeing that helping the people for truth get their work done and their jobs done. I'm proud of every one of you that understand. I have chosen to place my name in Atlanta for the purposes of the feast, this coming feast. My name will be there for the Feast of Passover. And of course, the scriptures teach you whatever city or whatever place I choose to place my name, that's where you hold your feast. Deuteronomy chapter 16, verses 16 and verse 11 tells you, wherever I choose to place my name, that's where you hold the feast. Who knows? I may decide to place my name in Los Angeles, California. For tabernacles, you can't tell. They've been flying in for 10 years from California to be with you. And you've never flown and gotten yourself together as super boss people, as I know you are, to fly to L.A. They have almost a plane load fly in every feast, and you are the witnesses that this is so. So you've been very blessed for 12 years to have every feast, practically except the last 2, in Miami. Now you have a chance to prove who you really are by going to where I place my name. It doesn't matter where my body is presently. We're talking about an eternal requirement. of keeping Yahweh's law? Are you going to be like your fathers? Or are you going to be like the children who have the opportunity to correct the faults of the fathers? Your choice. I bless you and I love you. Again, I commend every one of you for all of your unceasing efforts to carry on the work of Yud-Heh-Wav-Heh, putting a lie to Cain and his descendants, Lucifer, Cain, and their descendants, that if they put my body in the tomb and cut me off from you physically, that you would disintegrate, die, and go away. They lied. In several cities this weekend, I heard the most beautiful music. People who have never seen me in their lives, who's never been to one feast, have called in on the various radio stations in the various cities and wanted to know, how may I contribute? How may I join? How may I learn more? That happened even tonight. I've only heard your name or heard about you for the last few weeks on these broadcasts, and I want to be a part. I want to join your school and learn of you. And these are extremely articulate people, men and women, educated, erudite people. I'm extremely happy that I'm having this effect throughout the land. Believe me, whether you know it or not, I'm having this effect throughout the land. Even outside this country, I'm having that effect. And I thank every one of you, through the power of Yud, Hey, Wav, Hey, for your energy, your efforts, and your undying love for you, the Father and His Son. Because to love me is to love the one who sent me, and I thank Him for giving you to me. And it has been true all along as I have taught you. Those whom Yahweh has put in my hand, nothing, no one, or anybody can pluck them out. And I'm very happy for the wise virgins that are waiting on the call. The bridegroom cometh. The bridegroom cometh, and your lamps are full of oil. Continue to study your names, because without the knowledge of your name, you can't enter heaven. Even if you expire and die and don't know your name, you can't go to heaven. Thought you'd like to know that. I love you. I bless you. I look forward to seeing you soon, and I look forward to the next Shabbat. And at this time, I say unto you fervently, Aniyaho, Shabbat Shalom.